afternoon, viewers, and welcome to Education in Diaspora on Tisha channel. My name is Tisha, and I am the host for this program. We are organizing this program to get students informed about the possibilities of studying abroad for free. Yay! Today, we are highly privileged to have here a very special guest. Okay, so before I introduce my guest or our guest for today, do well to invite your friends, your family who are interested in studying in Korea to join us, because sharing, they say, is caring. Our special guest is specialized in developing foods with health effects. He holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Cape Coast, where he specialized in biochemistry. From there, he went to China for his master's degree, where he specialized in biochemistry and molecular biology. He then went to Korea, where he did his PhD in food science and biotechnology. So, our guest for today, Dr. Eric Daliri, is a lecturer at the Kangwon. I hope, yeah, that's the name, right?
That's right.
Kangwon National University in Korea. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us here.
Thank you very much also, Akushia. It's a privilege to be on your platform today. Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful job. And yeah.
Thank you. How is Korea?
Well, Korea is getting warmer now. You know, it's spring. But in Korea, that almost 8 months are always cold, right? So we have just 4 months that are warm. So, I mean, yeah, we are still enjoying about 9 degrees, 8 degrees, and sometimes it goes to 12 and 15. Yeah, Korea is fine. Because I'm in the northern part of Korea, that's why.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good to know that right now you have some warmth. Mm-hmm. That's good to know. Okay, Doc, so we know that in Ghana we speak English. So mostly when we want to go for further studies, we are mostly considering the US or the United Kingdom. So why did you choose to go to Korea, where their main language or the official language is Korean?
Well, yeah, I actually wanted to go to school in the UK, but I applied several times to many universities in the United Kingdom. I had positive response, but no scholarship, and the tuition fee was very expensive. So, well, I just decided to go anywhere I was going to get the scholarship. Okay. But I didn't lose the focus of my interest. I had a specific program I wanted to do, and so if I could get it in anywhere in the world, I would go, irrespective of the language they speak over there. So that's how come I have come to Korea.
Oh, okay. And how has the experience been so far? Are you enjoying yourself, or you wish you were in an English-speaking country?
Well, I'm fine. I think I'm fine. I'm cool. Yeah, I should say so. Yeah, because just like you mentioned, the journey started from China and then Korea. So coming to Korea, I didn't face many challenges because I had already stayed in a foreign country where English was not their major language too. So yeah.
Okay. Maybe another time we will invite you here to come and share your experience in China with us. So for today, can you take us through the application process? How did you find the school in Korea?
Well, I think my case was a very unique situation because I was in China when a professor who taught me in China but had moved to Korea asked me if I wanted to do a PhD in Korea.
Oh.
So I did not have to search for a school. I just had to follow his lead. And interestingly, even though I filled the forms, I filled the wrong ones. So the professor filled the forms for me. I mean, I think it's quite miraculous. But I can actually educate people on how to go about the process.
Yeah, I'm sure viewers will really love to hear that.
Very well. So mine is a special case. Let me talk about the general case. Just
Okay.
if one wants to come to school in Korea, then of course they would have to log on to the internet and look for schools where their programs of interest can be.
Okay.
And it's pretty simple. Koreans have a Korean website for their universities as well as an English um, website. So in every university, you can either translate the web page into English, or you can actually have an English page depending on which university you're dealing with. And so, as a general case, you would log on there and you will find a space where you can actually follow the links and download the application forms and then fill them and attach the required documents, just like you do in every other case in any university all over the world. So it's not any special case.
Okay. So usually, what are the required documents?
Well, usually you would need your well, if you're coming to graduate school here in Korea, then you would need your transcript and your certificate. But
Okay.
sometimes the university makes allowances for people who have not graduated, as in have not attended the graduation ceremony, but have completed the required number of semesters so that they have a complete transcript. So,
Okay.
such a situation, you would need the complete transcript showing the courses you have done and the grades you had. And you would ordinarily you would need a financial statement that shows that you are not going to be a burden to the government when you come here. Then you would need the field application forms. So I mean, these are the important documents you would need. But don't forget, you would also need your birth certificate, because
Really?
yeah, you will, because here is Asia, and in Asia they carry along their family records. That is an
Okay.
that tells their names, the date of birth, their parents, and the number of people in the family. They therefore think that it's a universal thing. And so,
Okay.
where we don't have such a document, we need to have our birth sets that shows the names of our parents, ourselves, and the date of birth. So that's important here in Korea. Yeah.
Okay. Would one need a motivation letter?
Well, for graduate school, you would have to have a plan, a research plan.
Okay.
Yeah, you would have to get a research plan concerning what you want to do in graduate school. That is the most important thing. For the motivation letter and other things, well, yeah, I mean, it may not be a prerequisite, but some universities really want you to write that, and I think they want you to write that too, so that they understand that you're not just coming to the school because everybody is going to school, but that you have a reason for which you want to graduate school. But the most important thing, among all the other things like the motivation letter, um, and maybe, I mean, it could be school specific though, but I mean,
Okay.
the most important thing is the research plan that will tell what exactly you want to do. So you don't just apply because you want to apply. You want to apply to graduate school in Korea because there is a research you want to do, or there is a certain specific area of study you want to join. Yeah.
Okay. So the research plan, is it something like a proposal?
Yes, yes, a proposal, but they call it research plan because you would want to add dates. It's actually a plan, not a proposal, because you're going to be talking about what you want to do. If it is like a master degree program, which is about 2 years, then you want to talk about what you intend to do during the first year and then
Okay.
the second year. So you're going to break it down into monthly kind of timetable. That's why it is a research plan, not just a research proposal. But it's not very different, because you would have to draft the proposal and then just make a timetable, a chart below where that shows when you want to do what. Basically, that is what it is.
Wow, I see. Okay. So does one have to prove that he or she can speak Korean before they get accepted to a graduate school in Korea?
That's an important question. No and yes. Two streams. Let me take the no first.
Okay.
Right? If you are joining the mainstream, like you're joining graduate school by yourself, if you are paying by yourself, that is what we call that fee paying, then you may not need to have that knowledge, depending on which university and depending on which program you want to read. Now the reason was in some universities, most of their professors cannot teach in English, though they speak English. About 99% of their student population in the graduate school or in that particular class are Koreans. For that reason, they would easily want to teach in Korean rather than teach in English.
Okay.
So it would be a prerequisite for you to pass a Korean language test.
Okay.
Just so that when they speak in class, you will understand. But in schools where there are many international students, it is not a prerequisite to know the Korean language, but it is a prerequisite for all undergraduates to have undergone a 1-year Korean study class and
Okay.
advanced level before they can start. So that's the yes and the no.
Okay. Okay, I get it. So, what about the cost of living there? Tuition, accommodation? I mean, how is it like?
Not cheap. Cost of living is very high because it's a high income earning country, so it's pretty expensive. And the cost of living would depend on which part of Korea you find yourself.
Okay.
So, well, you can buy lunch for between $7 to $10. So we're speaking to Ghanaians. Do I need to convert it to Ghana?
No, I think the dollars is okay.
I think they have. So that is between $7 and $10. So that is around 50 cedis to maybe around 35 cedis. That's for lunch, right? Yeah, around that amount. Maybe on the average, yes, in Korea, that's how lunch should cost. And so lunch, dinner, you're talking about 100 Ghana cedis or maybe 75 Ghana cedis like that. So
Wow.
it's not cheap. Yes, but accommodation could be cheap, and that would also depend on where you find yourself. In the very big cities like Seoul, which is the capital, you don't expect anything cheap over there.
Yeah.
But other big cities like Busan, Paju, very, very big cities, very industrialized cities, it's rather cheap over there.
Okay.
Because there are many immigrants over there who are working. And so I think the cost of housing has been reduced because they know that the immigrants there probably aren't get much money. So maybe. But in my city, Northwest, there are no industries because it's a green city, and so accommodation is not cheap. Yeah, so it depends on where you find yourself.
Okay.
If I should mention that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, tuition fee also depends on what university you find yourself. So in Korea, there are national universities, which are like in Ghana, you would say government university, right? And there are the private. The government universities are not cheap, but they offer subsidies, right? So, for example, my university is one of the cheapest, which takes which should cost you about $6,000 or $5,000 a year, right?
That's the cheapest.
Yeah, very, very cheap. It's one of the cheapest you can find.
Wow.
Yeah, they would slash it for you at 50% if you are an international, or maybe 45%. So you'll be paying between $1,500 per semester.
Yeah, for a master's program.
For graduate school, it could be master's or PhD. That's really
okay.
Pay about $3,000 a year, or maybe a little above that, because it has been slashed by half, like that.
Okay. So what about the possibility of getting a scholarship? How difficult is that?
Right. So scholarship in Korea is as competitive as everywhere in the world, because these days many internationals want to come to Korea, so they make it very competitive. But there are several ways of going around it. So the government has a Korean government scholarship program that it does, but it is a bilateral relationship between governments. And so you would have to apply for that through the Korean embassy in Ghana, if you are in Ghana or whichever country.
Mm-hmm.
But that is also competitive and quite political, you know. So you would have to write some exams and you go to level 2, write again, and it could be very tedious, but it pays well. I mean, those guys don't pay tuition fee, but I think they pay only accommodation, stuff like that. And so, you know, you can have a good life with that. They are paid well. But there's another way where universities give scholarships by themselves. Like I said, my university gives 50% subsidy, right? So that is also a scholarship. And after giving the 50% scholarship, my university again, I mean, I would be using my university as a point of contact.
Yeah.
My university also can give another scholarship that spares you from paying tuition fee and accommodation for a year.
Okay.
So, I mean, that reduces the burden of foreigners. They call that best KNU, kind of best students in the university. There is another way. Another way. That other way is being sponsored by the professor.
Okay.
Not in itself a scholarship. That looks more like you would receive a salary from your professor every single month. Okay, so it happens this way. Before you apply to the university, you look at the university website and scout for any of the professors in any department you are interested in. You follow their publications and see if your research interest meets with theirs. Now, if it does, you can send an email to him and start that friendly pen pal we all used to write in primary school, dear sir or madam, you know, that kind of stuff. And you build a relationship with them academically. I mean, telling them what you like about their research and how you would love to join their laboratory and stuff like that. So if they also are interested in you, then you can tell them about you're wanting them to support your finances. It is normal here. It is not like begging them, right? I mean, we have to differentiate begging from this case. Yes, this is not begging them. This is telling them that I want to study in your lab. I want to join your team and work in your lab. Therefore, I wanted to ask if you have an ongoing project so that I join that project. So you join, and in that sense, he sees you as a worker. So if you join that lab, you are paid every single month. Well, depending on which laboratory you go and depending on how rich the lab is, you may be fine. My boss pays a reasonable amount. I think I wasn't receiving that when I was a student, but now I think they are good. They're getting about 400, which is quite cool for that. And that is a nice way. I think I entered through that way because, like I said, a professor introduced me to my current professor who was interested in letting me work under him. So I didn't come with the mainstream government scholarship or subsidy or anything. He told me he was going to pay me, and so I should come. So every month I got my salary, and then I could pay my tuition fee, pay my accommodation, and buy some food and be fine. So that's it.
Okay. So if assuming that a student doesn't get a full scholarship and then comes to to Korea, is it possible for that student to work part-time to support himself?
Good question. Actually, it is illegal for one to work with a student visa, and I think because we are on air, I don't know who is watching, so yeah, like that. It is not legal. It is not permitted, but not strictly. It is not criminal, but it is illegal. I will explain. You can actually formalize it. You can legalize it by letting your professor know your financial situation, and then he gives you a letter you take to the immigration office. Then the immigration office will give you that permit so that you can do some part-time jobs. And And over here in Korea, many things depend heavily on the professor. Whatever the professor says is what is true. They are very powerful, you know. So if they think you can combine academia with part-time job, then they can give you that permit and you can do miniature jobs and you will be paid well. Yes, nobody can cheat you if you have that permission from the immigration
From
office.
the professor.
Otherwise, you know, if you hide and you do fine, but if the police arrest you, I understand they
On
can
your own.
$1,000. Now, how much do you get to pay
Yeah.
fine? So yeah, so I mean that's one of the ways. Another thing you can also do, I mean, I think let's talk about how you can make money rather than looking at like work.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like
Yeah.
you can also make money as a student when you join your professor's projects. If your professor, I mean, so I would advise that anybody who wants to join in this sense should join a professor who has huge funding. Because as part of the funding, money is allocated to the students who are deeply involved in the work. So every month you get some money, not so much, but I mean, it could be enough for a couple of staffs. You can get that. In some universities, you are paid when you publish. I mean, you get some money up to about maybe $400 or $300 if you publish a paper. And here in Asia, you have to publish in graduate school. It's compulsory.
Mm-hmm.
If you really work hard and you have some data and you publish, that can also fetch you some. And I think that helped me when I was a student. I published a lot. I did. I'm not bragging, but I mean I had to sometimes. The money he was giving me was small, so I had to
Work more.
money. So I got some good money. I got some pretty good money from that.
Wow.
So sometimes here in Korea they do a lot of culture exchange programs where maybe the university may be doing a food festival. Just register, take part. They will give you money to cook. Then they give you money because you participated. And if you go to church, that is also a nice place to get money because sometimes we do food bazaar, international food festivals, and the church will give you a lot of money. Then you use very little to cook, and then you keep the rest. And
We have one of our viewers saying, yes, we need more details about how you can make money.
yeah, right. So these are some of the clean ways you can make money.
Money.
Yeah, those are some of the I mean permitted ways. But like I said, if your professor would allow you to, if you would sign that document for you, they hardly do that though. They mostly do that for some people. I'm not going to say they are discriminatory, but I think the country has some bilateral relations and memoranda of understanding with some countries. They allow their nationals to actively do some of these part-time jobs, so they easily get the permits. But because I think I'm speaking to Ghanaians, I think it's hard for them to accept Ghanaians. Well, Africans, yeah. So that's it. I've seen some Southeast Asian people who easily get the permit, but I haven't seen any of our people, Africans, getting such permits. But I think it is. Yeah, it is.
Okay. So what about the teaching methods? Is it different from the system in Ghana or it's the same?
You know, interestingly, I taught in Ghana from 2005 to 2013 before traveling abroad. So, but you know, I taught in the primary, JSS, SSS, and now I'm teaching in the university. The strategy is different. I have not attended graduate school in Ghana, so I don't know how it is. But from my friends, what they tell me, it looks like if say you're doing a master degree, you have to do coursework for 1 year, then the following year you do your whatever and write your thesis. That's here in Korea, you do both together.
Okay.
If you're a master degree student or PhD or whatever, you start the coursework and you start the lab work at the same time. So depending on which professor you're working with, you can be spared a semester where you don't do active lab work, but you always have to be present in the laboratory just to show that you're present. Then you do your coursework, but you don't do research work. Then the second semester, you would start your lab work even as you finish up with your coursework. Yeah, so till you graduate, you would be doing that. I mean, the coursework is usually Yeah, 2 semesters, and the rest is for research.
Okay, I usually ask my guests.
I think
Sorry.
that is where it's quite different from Ghana, because work as you go for the coursework.
Okay, I
They give you a lot of free marks over here. If you
oh
want
really?
199%, 100%, you will get it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I usually ask my guests this question. Does the system in Ghana or the Ghanaian education system prepare students enough to face the outside world academically?
That is a big one, because I have discussed this with many people and it's a yes and no thing. I think yes. I think I was well prepared. But many people have their sides, and I can speak for both sides. But let me first take my side of the story. I think because I did biochemistry, like you rightly mentioned, and most of the things we did during the undergraduate was just read, memorize, write answers like that. But I think I had a different strategy of trying to understand what it was. So when I went to graduate school, in my master degree in China, all my professors thought I was the best in the class.
Wow.
Yes. And when I came to Korea to do my PhD, I think I was fine. It's just that I was lacking in the instrumentation, which can always be learned, because I think that is a skill.
Yeah.
So of instruments, you need to be trained, even if you have learned it in Ghana before. So I don't say, and I mean, to be very frank, I don't think my training was not enough for my graduate school. But other people complain that instrumentation has been the biggest problems when they traveled abroad for graduate school, because like any developing country, we don't have it all. And so
Yeah.
suction pipette, you use your mouth to draw. And it's here, but we have to go through that. So I won't 100% say that our system was not very good in preparing our people, though there are lapses. Also, because I teach here, I teach undergraduates. This semester I'm teaching final year students. And I know what we teach them. Most of the content is theory. Yes, only very little practicals where they have to do some basic things. So I just think our people should just do well. When they come, they will be fine. I think so.
Okay, that's good to know. So what are some of the pros of studying in Korea?
Well, I think if that question is designed for me, then I can tell you what I have. But if I should speak in a general view, I know what to say also. So which of them do you want me to answer? Me,
You as a person.
Well, I'm asking this because nobody has paid me to advertise for them. So.
I know.
I think for one, studying in Korea has helped me a lot, because I have met different people coming from all walks of life. And I have seen how they reason and how they think, their attitude towards work, their world views. I mean, what informs them to think the way they do. It has helped me a lot, because I think it has made me well-rounded, right? So that I don't only think with my Ghanaian perspective in academia, even in religion, or in my relationship with people. It has opened up my mind, and I think it's very. Korea has also taught me to be very tough. It's a pro, right? Because they call something pali pali. Pali pali means fast. Everything they want you to finish in the shortest possible time. So they try to always squeeze you for you to do extra work. It has its negative consequences though, but I mean, for me, I think
in general.
Yes, and also life in Korea has also taught me to not to be choosy in what I eat, but to eat right. Because these guys eat very little rice and a lot of vegetables. And so go for lunch, I'm never satisfied. You see, I think I mean and fermented foods, and that has also changed my dietary patterns in that sense. So And I think those are positive. I think that another thing about Korea is that one positive thing is that they would respect you. They respect you, but they respect you because of your age. That is what. So people who are younger than you would show you a lot of respect.
Respect.
But those who are older than you may not give you that so-called respect, unless you have something to give them. I mean, something to deliver in terms of
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
your mental strength or any good discussion. Otherwise, they may not actually see you. Yeah.
Okay. So, have you experienced any cultural shock?
I mean, it becomes a difficult question because I already experienced somewhere.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yes, I have experienced a couple of them. Not so strange, but would be strange to some of us because I mean, Ghanaians and other Africans who are European colonized. One of the shocks I got was that the first time I met someone, I just greeted. The first question was, "Hey, where are you from?" And I was like, "I'm not from space, you know." And that was the first thing they asked. And I was surprised they actually asked that because they wouldn't care about asking, "How are you?" or "How may I help you?" But the first thing is, "Where are you from?"
Where are you from?
And I think it's because they have limited words. The general public wouldn't want to speak English. And the next thing is, "How old are you?" So the first time it's always, "Hey, where are you from? How old are you?"
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound good, especially if you are a lady. You don't want
Yeah.
to remain young. And another thing is, yeah, one guy asking me that, is it true that lions come around our homes far back in Africa? Yeah, and I try to have heard someone ask such a question.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can imagine.
sometimes they can even ask you that, how much are you paid in your country?
Mm.
I mean, some of these things are difficult to answer because you don't know the basis of their questioning.
Yeah.
It may not be, it may not be nice, but I mean, I saw this and later I realized that, well, I mean, it was part of their language, it was part of the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rude, but because, I mean, those are common things they talk about. And another one is, they may ask you, how old are you? Immediately you say, then they ask you, aren't you too old not to have been married in your country by now? Then you are a lady or you are a gentleman, they just ask some of these things, and it could really be shocking, but I think it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Then what are some of the cons? The
Uh,
cons.
well, studying here, like anybody who um, um, cannot speak another person's language, it is not very convenient. Well,
Yeah.
you can go anywhere you want to go, buy whatever you want to buy, get any assistance you want. These guys are very, very, very hospitable. They can help you. But if you are unable to express yourself, you don't get that help you are looking for, and it makes it very,
Mm-hmm.
especially for people who come here purposely to study their major and to go away. Like I came here with the mentality of getting a PhD and going back to Ghana. And that was what it was. So I was always in the lab texting whatever. I didn't socialize much except for maybe church or some small gatherings, soccer that I would mingle with people. I was almost always in the laboratory. And so um, the language is actually a problem. Food is not a problem if you eat pork. But if you are not a pork eating Ghanaian or
Mm-hmm.
it may be quite difficult for you because I mean that's what they eat, and I think it's pork is everywhere, and that's what they eat, and it could be a problem for you. Otherwise, I think yeah, Korea is cool. Korea is cool. Yeah.
So generally, would you recommend or encourage students who are planning on going for graduate studies to consider Korea?
Oh yeah. I would recommend Korea for them because now Korea is actually not the way many people outside Asia perceive it to be. that if you, I mean, they are not very open people, or all you see in the movies is they make up straight face. I mean, they are humans. They love to have fun. They love to help when you need help. But that is if you can communicate with them. And I think if you can speak the Korean language as a foreigner, they will love you. They will just love you. And I would advise people to come here also because, well, they will have access to all the technology they need. Korea is a first world country, and yeah, they can get anything, any help, any assistance they would need from the US or from wherever. And it is also good to study here because, I mean, you can easily collaborate with other people in the US, in Canada, in China, or anywhere because they respect you because of the country, they respect you because they think you are advanced in knowledge. So yeah, they are nice people. Also, if you go to a good church or if you join any good society, sometimes they help you financially, and it's not easy to come by some. I mean, a society that will be giving you money. I mean, in
Yeah,
all this difficult, but
yeah.
find good guys over here. They do that. Yeah. So I think it's
Wow.
fine.
That's so good to know, Doc. I mean, we could continue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but then our time is fast spent. So
Right. Right.
I would love you to I mean, give your final words to our viewers. If
Right.
someone is watching you and then the person desires to study in Korea, what would you tell the person?
Well, yeah. I would encourage everybody who is interested in doing graduate studies, especially if you want to learn a new language, a foreign language, to come to Korea.
How
Um,
difficult is it to learn the Korean language?
sorry,
How difficult is it to learn the Korean language?
I think Korean is more difficult than Chinese because I speak Chinese. I can't speak Korean, so
Uh,
I, if you rank the difficulty of Chinese and you see that Korean is higher than that, then I mean that's for you to judge. But I think with determination, it's easy to pick those things up. I have not, I mean, sadly, given enough time to study the language, and that has been my only problem so far over here in Korea. But I mean, my final words to the listening public is that I mean, if you are interested in learning a foreign language, studying in a foreign country, and getting the best of education, Korea is one of the best places you can be. Yes, although I mean it's a new culture and you may have a couple of shocks. I think it's all part of life,
yeah.
and so give it a try. Come try kimchi. Come see the beautiful places. Yeah, and I think it will calm your nerves down to study more. I think now if
Uh,
you
mhm.
also would need assistance in applying for schools in Korea, or you have questions about how to go about things, I think Tisha will help you to find me, and then let's
Yeah.
go over there. Yeah, I mean there are some few slots I can advise you on, and by the grace of God, if you get it, that would be beautiful. Yeah, and I hope to see them, those who are watching me here in Korea.
Yeah. Are there specific courses or specific areas of study that people can contact you for, or
Right.
anything at all?
So you can contact me for general advice, but I mean specifically what I think I can offer very good assistance, and the key term is very good assistance. If you need, if you are interested in doing maybe graduate school in environmental science in the area of maybe water treatment, community water treatment, or heavy metal toxicity detection, or those kind of things, if you get in touch, I think I can help you. I think I can help you, especially if you want a PhD. Then I can
Okay.
help. If it is a master or something, I can help. But then, and also, I am in the department of food science and biotechnology. So if you are interested in that area also, we can see what we can do about it. But I mean, general advice also, I'll be happy to help in that sense. Yeah.
Okay, though. Thank you so much for joining us and for your good advice, the experiences, the beautiful experiences that you've shared with us. We really do appreciate. Viewers, thank you so much for staying and joining us throughout to the end of the program. We hope to see you next week as we go to Iceland. Yeah, so bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Akusha. Thank you.